Okay, we're all good. Hi guys, welcome to Soul Space Radio. How you going? We've got a few technical hiccups today. Unfortunately, Kate couldn't make it. We've got this beautiful Bella's joined us as our on-show guest today, our guest partner, and Kate is not here today, and the technical hiccups are so numerous, and
it's just a freaking mess.
It's just a mess overall that I don't think we're going to get any callers today, and you can lay the blame for that directly on my with me, because when I set the show up, I set it up for 15 minutes, not for an hour. So in accordance with that, because it's 15 minutes, I've not been able to log in this morning. So here we go. So we're going to pretty much be doing this Facebook Live. So if you can hear me, the radio is actually not even gone on air, so I'm not too sure what's happened. Maybe because it's just for the 15-minute duration. But look, if anyone's listening to the radio, they can come to Facebook Soul Space Radio, and you can ask questions through the Facebook page. So it kind of makes our job a little easier in that we can spend all our time interacting with you, our video live, our Facebook Live people. So I absolutely am so apologetic to our radio listeners for this era, and I'll be rectifying this in time for next week. So if you do have any queries that you wanted to address today, please dial in next week, and we'll endeavour to resolve them as soon as possible. Cool. So, on that note, hello Rufus. Sorry that you had to work today. Thanks Kate, here's to you working as well. And I'm sitting here with the lovely Belle Owen. And maybe we always usually start, Belle, with a little bit about how our week's been.
Really?
Yeah, really. Okay. So, do you want me to start?
You start.
Do you want me to start? Okay, so my week's been wonderful. My husband's been home. I haven't seen him for quite some time, so that's been really lovely. So I've been surrounded by love, lots of nurturing, lots of good times. Actually had Belle here for dinner on Friday night. We had a few laughs. Had my mum here, so it's been really special, surrounded by love, and my dad and his wife came down. So it's been a really loving time, and it's been back to basics, sort of shut the doors, family, and just lots of good nurturing time. It is freezing cold, I mean cold. Living here, I'm in the middle of the rainforest, and here it is a different eco-climate, I swear. I get in the car and go 15 minutes down the road and defrost. It is a little bit of a different ecosystem, and it's cold. It's really cold. Yeah.
It is.
So, other than the weather, I've really not got, I've been so busy with family commitments, I haven't really got huge amounts of illumination. I did want to touch on some points about what Rufus and I were talking about last week before we ended the show on our vision, in terms of the vision that we see for the world, both in terms of our spirituality and what that's brought to us, and just in the way of what we see the long-term future. But we'll talk a bit more about that later. I'm going to pass it on to beautiful Belle. I'm excited to hear about her week. I hope it sounds a lot more exciting than mine.
No, I think yours is more exciting than mine.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I've had a massive couple of weeks actually, on a personal level, and this week I've been spending a lot of time with me and really going inwards and doing a lot of self-reflection. So I've come out with some really awesome gems from that, so just trying to integrate all of that. And I've also been playing a lot of music this week, which has been like a really meditative space for me, which has really helped as well. And apart from that, just doing a lot of research and planning. So yeah, I've had a lot going on.
That's really cool, Belle. That's really cool. And so would you say that one of the ways, because we all connect, right? Connections are key, and we all understand that, Belle being very spiritual as well. And everybody understands, hey, it's a latent ability that we all have. But in understanding that, how would you, because I get that we connect in different ways, and so how would you say that you, so music is one of the ways that you've recently...
Yeah, and that's sort of been a new thing for me. I've never considered myself musical or gifted that way, but I've just been finding there's been a lot dropping in for me lately, which does seem or feel genuinely divinely guided or delivered from soul, I guess. So I've just been following that, and it's just interesting to see what's opening up in my life and things that I never expected, and a lot of new things to discover, really. And music has been, I don't know, just really beautiful for me to connect in, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And I find too, when I am in that space, that I'm dropping out of the mind, and I do feel, quite embodied and in the heart space. So it's been a good break to get me out of my head where I've been a little bit recently.
Yeah, and I think that's another great conversation, is in terms of, and we mentioned a little bit of this last week, because it was predominantly about relationships last week. It was really interesting, and a lot of that is too about the esoteric or male and female energies that are within, the polarity between and they're within all of us. And the male energy predominantly being active and mental energy. We have to be really careful that we balance that out with the heart and the feminine, and more of that passive, intuitive, creative side of ourselves. So the female's leading, the male fully supports her behind. We haven't got this active male controller who's operating from a separated space. Best way to deal with that, people, in my experience, is connection. And so connection will balance out all things, and by that I mean connection to source, and that may mean very different things depending on who you are in life. That is your relationship with God, source, universe, or whatever you might see it as. And I think that's one of the fundamental things to do, because then it all creates all things new from that relationship.
And it's also about, like you're saying, rather than seeing them as separate, as in bringing them in together, because we do have both of these feminine and masculine in us internally. So it's about being able to hold ourselves in both of those spaces and integrate the two as a whole. Yeah, because
the fundamental thing is that effectively, the way I understand it, the way it's shown to me intuitively, is that we are perfection in ourselves, and however you want to define that, that's a bit of a word that's been sort of bastardized in our language, but we are whole and complete within ourselves. There's really nothing to fix. It's really just what has happened is that when the one energy becomes stronger than the other, we perceive that we're separated, and in that separation we just don't see ourselves as whole anymore. So it's really about connection, coming back to balance, and then coming back to the integrity and going within to see who you truly are. And music is one of the great ways of doing that, going within. So I've seen Belle on part of her journey, and it's been a real blessing and an honour, because it is quite an amazing adventure, and you strap your seatbelt on and you go for that ride. That's it.
Sure do.
So again, apologies to the radio people. Let's talk now then. Sorry, Bella, have you finished about your week? Or
I'm finished.
You finished?
I'm finished.
We could go on, I feel, but we'll finish there. Let's talk a little bit more about what I'll keep an eye on Facebook. So by all means, do go to Facebook.com/Soul Space Radio. And what we'll do is we can answer any questions that you might have if you post them onto our Facebook page. We would love to talk to you from that perspective about anything that we say, because while this is intuitive reading or everything and anything in terms of the spiritual nature, it's really about individual journeys, and they're all quite different, and we're all on our own journey, and we just honour and as long as it's heart-centric, we just honour and respect each person as to where they're at and what journey they've been on. So everybody has something to share. So going back to the conversation that we started, I think we started this conversation 2 minutes before we had to finish, which was about, I brought up about what's your vision for the world, which is quite a heavy topic, and we had 2 minutes to go. I think Rufus and I were both like competing for airtime in terms of who could say what before, because we're both really passionate about the way that we see the world and the way that we see humankind in terms of our ongoing evolution. So on that note, Belle, how does that sit with you? So predominantly, to catch up, predominantly for me, I'm very, very positive about the vision of this world and mankind, and I see this as the golden opportunity. I see this as the beginning of a golden age in terms of exploration of our consciousness and how that will impact in terms of technology and things like that. At the moment, the focus is on the things external to us, but I think internally to us as we expand our consciousness, and by that I also mean our soul consciousness, so the awareness of our soul as it expands, will make huge changes in terms of our own evolution, and therefore will change the consciousness and the frequency of this planet. So when we use those tools and technologies, which are fantastic, we'll be using them in quite different ways, I think, than we probably envisaged when we first developed them. What is your thoughts on where we're going, Belle?
What you said.
I love you.
Can I just say that?
Oh, you can. What you said. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I believe that it's a choice that we have as a collective. But for me personally, I believe that it all starts from within. So to create great change, it always starts with self. And yeah, for the past few years, I've really been focused on trying to live from the heart. Because I did spend a lot of time always in my mind or feeling anxious about things or sort of living in the past and, which would create depression and just all sorts of things that, don't feel very nice but were an important part of the journey at the time. But it's coming through all of that and, like taking the learnings and integrating them into everyday life. And yeah, for me, it's just really, living from a place of love and really connecting into that within self as well. And if you're going to talk vibration and energy and all the stuff, it's sort of directing that outwards into the outside world with your own gifts and talents, really. If you're living from that space, I don't feel like you can go wrong. And it has sort of like a domino effect, within society. So if we were all living like that, then what a world it would be.
Absolutely. It's kind of like the butterfly effect, and the more people that do that and raise their soul consciousness, because you're really just evolving your soul.
Yeah.
That thing. I mean, it's mind, body, and soul. It's all integrated.
Yeah. In regards to technology, I don't know. Maybe we'll end up blowing ourselves up, or.
Well, I think it's okay.
Just joking.
I don't. Yeah. I'm not quite aligned with that one. Well, unless we become, maybe we then expand our consciousness further by sending particles out. But however, I'm kind of more eternally optimistic, and in fact, I'm so optimistic. I think we're going to continue on with exploration in terms of universal exploration. But I think we have to have a responsibility to raise our consciousness first before we actually look at doing any more external development, because we're really reflecting everything, people within. So from within, without.
Yep.
So time to go within and then expand, and just like Belle says, when you shine your light, when you raise your own consciousness and you shine your light, you don't really have to do anything to the world to make the world a better place. Just by honouring and loving yourself, it actually does that automatically. So, it's the butterfly effect if we can all continue to go out. And that's what we're trying to do here is, look, and the show's cancelled after show's closed after 15 minutes because of the way that I entered in the data. So I do apologise, radio people. I'm hoping that you'll come back next week and put down your questions. So I don't know if anyone's got any feedback that they'd like to add with regards to how they see the world in terms of vision and things like that. But it's a beautiful place, and we're really lucky. I don't think I've got anything here at the moment. I can't even see the video on here. So,
are we even live at all?
Well, I think we should be. Maybe I need to double check.
Maybe refresh or something.
Yeah, possibly. Oh, look, I tell you, it's the day. Today is the day of this is, see, I think I need to raise my consciousness so that I can actually interpret what I'm reading here. Would you believe it? My background's in IT project management, but it doesn't feel like it today. No, exactly, yeah. Forgive me. Okay, so, right. So, well, one of the things, because, look, here it is. I think that's us, isn't it? That's me there. That's me there with you.
Wow, there's people watching.
Whoops. Now, of course, we're going to listen to the hearing. You don't want to rehear us. Let me have a look at see what comments we've got here. No, I've lost it. Sorry. Okay.
There were 3 there.
Whoops. Okay. Okay, so we've got a, I might just honour this. We've got a message here from, I'll just turn the volume down. We've got a message here from Lee, and I really like to, Lee Evans is a very special part of our audience, and I'd like to honour this from Lee, and I'm hoping, Lee, that because you put it up on this forum that you're happy for me to read it out, so I will. Lee has stated, I feel like I cannot breathe. I've taken some massive steps with my business this week. I'm feeling very overwhelmed and my emotions are heavy. I feel like crying and just scared as well. I'm trying my best. I work for the homeless and I feel so much pressure, and that spirit is expecting too much of me. Okay, Lee. So, overwhelming, that's an interesting one because it happens to all of us and at the best of times. And it's quite difficult to experience it from that place. And my first 2 things that I'd just say directly in response to your Facebook post is, the first thing is that when we get overwhelmed, it's usually in the situation that we're in. So the first thing I'd suggest is to go out for a walk. I know it's not necessarily the most expedient thing to do, but to leave everything, go out into nature. Go away from where you currently are, the working environment, walk out into nature, or whichever way you best connect. Whether that be go and grab yourself a cup of coffee and sit out on the veranda, or go to the park, or go and listen to a song, or go into a meditative space somewhere. Leave the situation, get in your car, go to the beach, whatever the case may be. Leave the situation, and then it really just means like a readjustment period to assimilate. Sometimes we push ourselves with the male energy so much that we need to assimilate stuff and then to get back into the flow, and we can't do it from there. But please honour, I'm really grateful that you said a lot of things about emotions there, because we need to honour those emotions. So the days of suppressing that stuff are well over, and just bin that, because that was the biggest crock of shit that anybody ever told us, was to suppress emotions. It's the worst thing that you can do. So I'm really glad that you're honouring yourself. You are expressing clearly the way that you feel, and by God, that, believe it or not, that's a massive step in the right direction. Honour those. Kick some cans, do whatever you need to do to make yourself feel better. Leave the situation and change your vibration. And so, raise your vibration, do something fun, do something joyous, exercise, good nutrition, candles in the bathroom, reading a good book, watching a good movie, going for a walk, just anything that will get you out of that space, into your heart. I like the 3 deep breaths. White light down to my heart space, breathing out through the heart, brings you back, makes you quite heart-centric, grounded. Another great one is actually standing, just going outside barefoot and really grounding yourself into the earth. I know that's one that's really popular with a lot of people. So anything like that, just get back to that connection, because the trick is, in a lot of these emotions that you're experiencing are because we are teaching ourselves to do things by ourselves. And really there's a little fallacy in that, because we can't, that's really the male energy telling us we have to do it and push, and we're supposed to be like that people, and we're constantly comparing and judging, and it becomes this massive big cycle. I mean, listen to my voice, that's pure male energy. It becomes a cycle and trap. We don't ask for help. We should be predominantly co-creating with source. This running around and doing stuff by ourselves is just not a great idea. But You've got to get there from there. You can't just jump into that. I completely understand it. You've got to honour those feelings, raise the vibration, get connected. Things, people, places, things, synchronicity will come back to you. Whether you put that in a regular daily practice, but please make sure it's something you love. Again, don't use the male energy, go, I must do this, I must do that, I must meditate. Again, you're just going to go back to that space where the fun and spontaneity, which is the leading female energy, is just going to be driven out of your life. So, look, Lee, I hope that's given you some advice. Belle, would you like to add some more to that?
Yeah, just with the part about feeling overwhelmed, I find, I don't know, I felt that same feeling a lot. And sometimes when I take a step back, and this is only from my own personal experiences, but maybe it could be something to reflect on. And when I take a step back, yeah, the overwhelm is coming from me putting too much pressure on myself and not asking for help. And like you're saying, just feeling like I need to do it all myself. And yeah, almost feeling like I'm failing if I'm asking for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, when in hindsight, there has always been people around that are willing and happy to help. And like Shay said about co-creating with spirit, but also co-creating with, you know, those around you who are offering to help or are in a position to. Yeah, that's probably a lesson that I've learnt out of, yeah, the overwhelming situations that I've been in.
Yeah. I think we get so focused, Lee, on doing that we forget about the being part of it.
Yeah.
And I agree with Belle, there's probably a community that will support you, and you do some fantastic work, like completely inspired by what you do in terms of working with the homeless. I mean, what better cause, and you know, and you're probably so passionate about that, that's something that you really want to drive yourself out at, because you understand and you empathise with those people. But the your comment about spirit, I'd like to address that, because the interesting thing is, I get overwhelmed too, and I can get overwhelmed when I'm connected as well. The interesting thing is that somebody said to me, and this is great advice, that spirit does not give you anything that you're not ready for.
Yeah.
So in fact, what you can be doing is calling forward more. So you might feel that spirit is directly involved and you're connected and spirit's just giving you more and more and more and more. That's because spirit perceives that you are ready for more and more and more, and you might just be more open to more. Great sign, is a great gift in that. The other thing that you can do is set boundaries. So if you're not ready and you're getting a whole lot of information from source about do this and do that, and I certainly do. I've got a goal board and a journal which I write down a lot of the inspired action that I get. But you know, sometimes it's just not practical to be able to deliver it, and so I'll note it down in honouring spirit, and I might go back and say, well, I'm prepared to do that later, but not right now. So you can negotiate your situation with spirit. The fundamental rule is that nothing will happen in accordance with your free will. So your free will, in terms of an individual's free will in this universe, is the utmost law, if you want to call it that. So it's not going to do anything that you don't want to do. And the other thing is that people don't understand you can communicate with spirit. So much like prayer, but you can actually directly communicate with spirit. So for example, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you go, I see the direction I need to go and being clearly revealed to me immediately. I see you, let's say you've got an issue that you can't resolve. I give this to you to resolve. So you actually use spirit to assist you in terms of managing those aspects of your life that you're finding quite difficult, whether it be relationships, or whether it be actual actions or trying to get everything done. And you could say, I see the right resources, right people, right places, right events coming to me now to assist me in delivering all of this, all for the highest good of all. And there's lots of things that we can say. So set your boundaries, clarify what you want, because it's co-creating with you. It's really about what you want. Clarify what you want, re-energize that intention, put it out there, and then just monitor it and keep it focused in terms of communicating with source quite specifically about what you're wanting to achieve. And then just setting some boundaries in the event that you're getting information from everywhere. But how blessed, to be honest, a huge gift. There's a huge gift in that you're obviously extremely connected to get all this information. I guess because you're honouring your emotions and you're a sensitive soul, you're probably in the light worker bracket, which I hate. I'm not really a big fan of that word. I don't think that word best encompasses what we all sort of do, but there's some of us that operate from spirit, and I'm noticing similarities in terms of tends to be quite sensitive souls. And we feel other people's energy, and we feel empathy, and we feel we're designed to make the world a better place.
Yeah, and to be of service for the highest good, which it sounds like you definitely are. Yeah,
for sure. Okay, Lee, well, look, hopefully that's helped, and if you want to put some more feedback, if you got any further queries, please come back to the Facebook page and let us know how you're going. If there's some specific practical advice that you want, just let us know a little bit more about the specific areas that you're feeling overwhelmed in. I'm actually, got some skills around project management, which is all about times and resources and how to get things done. And sometimes it's just a bit of like having someone look at it objectively is always a really good thing, which objectivity really helps too if you get bigger than the picture and you actually start seeing some of these things as not being as big as what we originally thought when we were in it. So hopefully that's really helped. There's another few beautiful comments from some other people who like our video today, and now I've lost the video, so I clicked on that. There you go. So here we go, we're back live again, Belle, and now I've
did it again. Don't swipe left.
Don't swipe. You see, I swiped too fast. I swiped too fast on the Youth Boss card too, but anyway, that's a whole different story. Right, there we are. Thanks, Jennifer. We got your love. Thanks, Jennifer. Hope your show went really well today. Okay, 3 comments. Hang on, let's have a look. Debbie Henderson Slater, nice wave from you, Debbie. Wave back. Glad you're enjoying the show, Debbie. Tanya. Hi Tanya, how you going? Nice that you're watching us. Thank you, folks. So I hope we haven't missed anyone in those comments. There doesn't seem to be any more today, but just again, keep sending us messages and go from there. Any questions that you have? Okay, so to talk about next, I better check. Now I'm going to check on time because obviously I don't have a radio show that's telling me what the time is, and
maybe you should give me your watch.
This is more a little bit about the faulty tower show, and I don't need to apologise for Belle because she's like, crikey, I thought this was supposed to be a professional operation. She's coming in and I'm running around like faulty, and it's just ridiculous. But it's a great show, isn't it? Yeah. It's a great show. And the thing is, folks, is that you have to laugh. You just have to laugh at life because, if you didn't, you cry, and well, I guess you can cry as well, but it's good. It's good to laugh. Laughter is such a high vibrational energy. It really, really is.
And it is great medicine.
It is great medicine. Now, Belle, did you want to do a musical treat for us, or do you want to leave that and talk about something else?
Well, you're the boss, so I'm just
the boss. Please, the boss. I don't think so. I think the two troublemakers here, folks, is a bit of a worry. Lucky we're not going to get on the phone and dial you people and ask some questions. We could do that. We might do that next week. Okay, so, well, I think probably now is a good time to have a little bit of drumming. And what we could do maybe is put a bit of an intent in that. And do you have a way that you'd like to do an intent? Like we could do a little bit of meditation, or how do you like to invoke intentions before you play in music?
It depends. If I'm just doing it for myself, sometimes I'll just say internally what my intention is. If it's a group setting, like with my circles, I'll say it out loud. So
yeah,
do you want to set an intention?
Well, yeah, let's set an intention. Well, both you and I. And one of the intentions I'd like to set is clarity. I think, and that I think will assist Lee as well. So I'd like to. So we can clarity is a good one, I think. And what would you like to set an intention?
I'm just feeling like I would like to set centeredness within self. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's really nice, and they go really well together.
Exactly.
So yeah, fantastic, cool. So on that note, if you'd like to,
So this is my beautiful drum.
Can I touch it? Am I allowed to touch it?
Yes.
Oh my god, it's so lovely. And what is it made of, Belle?
So this is kangaroo skin, which is a masculine energy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But when I first bought this drum, I did like a little journey with it just to find the spirit animal of the drum, and a dolphin came to me, and I was using this for my women's tantra circles, and the dolphin is all about femininity, creativity, sexuality, all of that sort of thing. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a free spirit. The dolphin energy would be, wouldn't it be? Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Okay. Goodness me, that's some pretty powerful stuff right there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Now I'm gonna get into my little meditation pose because I feel this is gonna be awesome. Yeah. I'm feeling this.
Are you gonna talk it in?
No. You do what you take it away. You take it away, Belle.
So, if anybody is listening now, just close your eyes and just connect to your breath. And just take 3 deep breaths into the heart space. And then breathe out through the mouth. And just keeping that intention at the forefront. Really feel into that intention and what it feels like to embody that quality. And just feel yourself connected to whatever space you're in at the moment. And send some roots down into the earth. And know that you are always grounded and supported.
was pretty powerful, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Do you feel the frequencies coming off
I'm
there?
still feeling it in my ears.
Reverberating everywhere.
It's still buzzing
Yeah.
back through my ears.
I was going to say something to you about, my God, I didn't realise, because it's all on frequency, right? And I could feel that frequency and that resonation just pouring off that drum. And I had actually not realised that. I'd attended one of Belle's
the yin
circle, and she played the drum there, and I didn't actually notice it there, but boy oh boy, it's really quite the frequency's quite amazing actually.
Yeah, it is, and I've always had a really positive response to that drum. Yeah, so it's a pretty special one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say I feel very, very blessed. Thank you so much. That was awesome. That was really cool.
Come back
Yeah.
behind it now. Because, and the thing is too, and with drumming, like it's a great meditative tool for me, but it can also send me into a trance state pretty quickly.
Yeah, and being that it's so primitive and so tribal, and what chakra is that all at? Is that base chakra stuff, wouldn't it be, in terms of...
I don't know. I mean, it's not like it's a particular...
key or anything like that, yeah. But it's just
but
so primitive and so
the deep
special.
resonance does, make it feel that way.
Okay, so well, look, we've got a couple of more questions. So we'll just say a quick shout out to Jim Locke. Hi Jim, how you going? Good to see you. Thanks for watching. And Lee's come back to us. Thank you, Shane Bell. That was all very helpful to me, and I'll take it on board. I'm learning to ask for more help. It's not an easy one for me. Thank you so much for the beautiful advice. Setting boundaries is something I'm also learning. I'm extremely sensitive. Thank you again, Shay. I feel like I need to ground, which is what we were talking about before. I just need some time to plan, and not only that, but to integrate too. I'm considering getting some volunteers to help me out. I need to reflect on all you've said. Thank you again. And again, I find that really interesting, Lee, because you know all the answers within yourself. And so go with your intuitive side more frequently, because that's the side that should be leading, and then knows all of the things which you've just said that you're doing.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is, never ever see your sensitivity as anything other than the beautiful gift that it is. Because you are making the world a better place, and you wouldn't be doing that if you didn't have that sensitivity. And so, cherish that, because there is, I understand there's great pain that can come from that, but that's such a beautiful gift. It really, really is, because it's almost a God gift. It really is, because you're so connected, because you're sensitive, you can feel people's energies, and it's really it really is one of the tools that makes you so valuable in this world, in terms of knowing when and where and how to give service, and also understanding how much that's actually required. Let us know if we can help you with volunteers. Perhaps we could put something up on our Facebook page. If you've got any links to any volunteer sites or anything like that, we could help you do that. I'm really interested in that, Lee. Actually, we might have an off the Facebook meeting about that, because I'm really interested in. I've heard about a Thrive community. I think they're big in the States. I'm not too sure if they're here, and they establish volunteers for certain things. But I'm working with a number of companies, a number of businesses that are going to, making some major technology transformational stuff, and will change, in terms of renewable energies, and things will change the way that we live our lives, and really no one's adequately funded in this world to do that. So, having volunteers or people that will be willing to volunteer in terms of bettering, themselves, in terms of updating their skills or refreshing their skills, whether they're in between jobs or they're coming out of school or whatever, and or giving back to humanity. I think volunteering is one of the best ways to go. So I'd be really interested in supporting you in terms of that, Lee, and putting up some links. And if anyone would like to volunteer, that'd be great. I couldn't imagine a better purpose. And I'd like to have some conversations about that with you. Okay, so, well, what other? So we've got 20 minutes to go. So it's always a good start of a good conversation, I feel. So I am really enjoying at the moment the space of consciousness because it's a very modern trendy word. It's a trendy word at the moment. It's trending. I'd say it's trending up there pretty high. Everybody uses it, but what people mean by it can be quite different things, I feel. I think it's very interesting, the number 3 in our universe, and I'll tell you why. Because I think mind, body and soul, the triumvirate, I think spirit, sorry, forgive me if I'm wrong, I know that there's 3 in terms of Christianity faith. There's the Spirit, God, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Is that right? Or something to that effect. So I know that that number is very pure, and I think that that's a reflection on ourselves. Now, with me, I know that on my spirit journey in terms of expanding my soul, and I'll give you a little breakdown about how I see that. In terms of expanding my soul, it definitely hasn't been one thing in particular. It's really a holistic, balanced approach across those 3 realms. And like most people, I think my journey probably started with mind, effectively changing mindset or modern metaphysics. So that's through affirmations, that self-development phase sort of started me on the journey. And then to look at nutrition and well-being, exercise and its importance. And then I think the most important being the soul. I think we lead with the soul. I think it's predominantly female energy. And I think once the 3 of them can combine, the soul, the soul sort of expands and then connects with higher intelligence, which then changes everything. And it expands past our external limitations and our beliefs. So really, it expands. It's probably like a spiral. It actually goes within and you reconnect into your soul self. So the actual perception of yourself changes and you realise that you are whole, that you're whole. So you're really coming back to what you always have been. But in doing so is a real freedom, I think, because you can connect from higher intelligence from there. Now, where you go from there is anywhere, really, from my experience. And I'm just sort of looking at, I'm just getting very interested, and I know I've had some kind of spiritual experiences that in the past I would have, if someone had told me, I would have been, you're bonkers, you're quite mad. But in fact, our consciousness, and by what I mean by that is my soul's awareness, which is the 3 of them combined, mind, body and soul, that awareness within my cells is actually quite, it's devoid of body and form, and can move and alter shape and do whatever and I'm only really just starting to come to terms with exploring this frontier. It fascinates me. And I do believe the golden age is effectively all about consciousness and what I would term soul evolution and becoming a bigger part of ourselves and really stepping into our wholeness, because we don't really truly understand what we're capable of. I find it very interesting that this is in the collective consciousness as well, because we are constantly seeing movie after movie from Marvel Studios, and don't you find that interesting? That that's all about superheroes and superhero capabilities. And yet, think about it, people, a lot of this stuff, Tibetan monks were doing when, many, many centuries ago, not just the Tibetans, but many ancient civilizations, Indian cultures, the Aztec cultures, American Indians, and it's quite shamanistic in terms of outside of body experiences, astral traveling, all of those sorts of things, which our superheroes represent, or they have a lot of those capabilities, telepathy. So I don't think it's just locked away in terms of fiction or, look, I truly believe that consciousness is expanding, and a lot of these things, as we come to know ourselves, we come to understand, are purely natural. So one thing I've learned is never say never, and don't say you're wrong, because you can't do that. Because one of the things I understood is that if somebody had said to me, Shay, you'd feel spirit, I'd go, I would swear and say, are you for real? You've got to be crazy. are you having a laugh? I'm like, what drugs are you on? You know, so I would have been the worst person I was so logic and male-based, I would have just slapped you down in no time. Because it's from a non-tangible, you can't see it, it's something you've got to experience, it's so hard to explain, and yet the most beautiful things in this life are all intangible.
Yeah.
So it's and we're really starting to explore that as a humanity, and I think that's a beautiful thing, because I think that's where the final frontier is. And I think you have to go in to actually go into those realms, to fall through those other dimensional realms. And so interesting, I see Belle's nodding here, so I'm interested to get her feedback on this. Well, how do you, talk maybe a little bit about your journey, Belle, and what happened to kind of make you question the world and, you know, your role in it and go within and...
Yeah, I don't know, I feel like I've sort of always inherently had this in me, and I mean, my mum is quite spiritual, so I've grown up with that. But yeah, it really kicked in for me probably around 15 years of age, where I was just questioning everything, and I was starting to explore these parts of myself that, that felt like they'd been lost in a way, and just continued on with that. And I guess from a growth perspective for me, the most happened when I got married and had a baby. I had a really traumatic birth with my son, and ended up suffering from postnatal depression and anxiety, and just kind of felt like the bottom had fallen out of my life completely, and literally felt like I was at the bottom of a well looking up into the dark, but knowing that there was a glimmer of light there, and knowing that the only way out was up. I had no choice. Well, I did, but, you know. And then I started to really focus more on, my own connection with God or Goddess or whatever you want to call it. And I started to go down the holistic path, so I took on study to do a diploma in holistic counselling, and then went on to study Tantra. And essentially Tantra itself, the word means to weave or to expand consciousness, so that's connecting with...
does that?
Yeah, the highest consciousness.
So I talk about consciousness, and then that's the definition of Tantra. How fun is that? So it's no surprise that you're here with us today then,
Yeah.
How cool was that?
So that, it's kind of like, well, there's more on top of that to do with my journey, and lots coming in and still more developing, but at the moment I'm going inwards again a lot, and just sort of reinventing, rebirthing all the time, and purging what shouldn't be there anymore because I've learnt from it, onwards and
cool. Yeah, and I really thank you so much, because I really appreciate your honesty, and I think that is very key, people, is that the concept of rainbows and skittles is so misleading, because actually some of the most awakening points for all of us are around traumatic events, and what happens in that process, because it's a calling within. You either don't come out, or you have to go within to determine, how do I change this? I can't change this from pushing externally. And for me, it's really interesting that you talked in terms of your son, the postnatal depression and all that sort of thing. And for me, it was largely when I went through a massive cycle of IVF for extended years, and had multiple miscarriages, but they were all early stages, so I have, it's not like some other woman have gone through. But in that experience, it really kind of like dragged me through the coals and then pushed in within, and I think that's what the energy does. And then, but the beauty of that gift is when you look back and you go, wow, well, the gift in that is that now I understood that from that perception I couldn't get anywhere, but then I understood going within gave me a completely different perception. Now you know what connection is.
Yeah.
Now you know what connection is. You can go back to that in a higher vibrational state.
Yeah.
So it changes you because you learn that, wow, if that happens from that state and I'm not feeling good, then what can happen if I'm really raising my vibration? You take responsibility, I think.
Well, yeah, and when you talk about responsibility, again, it's not, sharing these, horrible things that have happened to stay in victim mentality. It's I don't know, I feel like it's important for us to all share these things because you don't know how much it's going to help the person next to you. They might be going through the same thing.
And so
but we're so used to just, again, suppressing everything, and we feel so much shame around all of these, what are perceived as negative feelings, which again is just a perception and a label. And especially within this spiritual community, I find as well that if it's not all love and light, then people don't want to know about it. But that's where the light is, and that's where our growth is. So I feel like we should all, I hate saying should, but just support each other that way and allow space to discuss these things and just be authentic with whatever's going on.
Yeah, and don't you find that it's experiences? Because, okay, put it this way. I grew up and my mum and dad said, Shay, you should do this and Shay, you should do that. And do you know what? I didn't do any of those things, but I learned a lot of those things that they said by doing my own experiences. And I really think that's the same as classroom-based training, and I don't think it works. It doesn't work, people, and I tell you why it doesn't work, because I think you have to experience things in this life to understand. So if you, like beautiful Belle here today has given us an experience of the way that she perceived and what happened to her, and from that can resonate with other people, and that's how you best learn. And there's some, you're like, oh, okay, so that's what, it's an enlightened moment. So
and sometimes it's just nice to not feel like you're alone in certain things. And
absolutely. And so, it's, we all live, people. We all live. We've all done stuff that we're ashamed of, that we're not proud of. We've all got experiences that are not the best, but they make us who we are, and that's what's the beautiful thing, because it doesn't diminish the light within us, nor does it actually, nor is there any judgment and criticism other than what we give ourselves.
No. And we're spiritual beings here to have a human experience, and this is all part of our humanness and having that human experience.
Have fun. Go a little cray-cray, I say. It doesn't really hurt you. And that was the words from Shay. I should be like a rapper. Anyway, very Belle's well familiar with my humour. It's borderline atrocious, really. It's pretty weak, actually, but anyway. So I just laughed, you see. Some people, I'm unfortunate in that way, though, because some people cry and I laugh. It's kind of the way I release nervous tension. But it doesn't work well in funerals, people, because I laugh in funerals and I usually get booted out of them because it's kind of not appropriate to do that. And I don't mean to offend anyone, but it's kind of nervous energy for me, and I just have to start laughing. It's just not appropriate. I bet, yes, it's not. Yes, I wasn't familiar with family members. I wasn't very popular with them at certain occasions. But anyway, these things happen. we all can't be the same, yeah. Okay, so 5 more minutes to go.
Is there any more questions?
Oh, we've been on in such a roll. I'm getting far too comfortable here, people. Of course, I've lost the video again. If I go back and refresh the page. Here we go. There we are. picture of me with my mouth open and my eyes closed. That's pretty
Catching flies.
That's pretty normal. That's pretty standard. Beautiful. Standard stuff. Okay. Hang on, we might have a few more comments. So okay, cool. Lee Evans, thank you, Shay. It's a big learning curve. Thanks for all your advice. I'd love to have a chat with you, Shay. I will add you through Facebook. Okay, so there's a website. Look, I'll leave this. I'm not too sure whether Lee wants me to share that with you, but I can talk to her about that. And if you're interested in what she's doing, we can put her, if she would like for you guys to be involved in what she's doing, we can put her website details up on the internet and you can have a look. It sounds really fascinating. Also, thank you for talking about male and female energy. I look forward to chatting with you more. Beautiful. That's lovely. Thanks, Lee. And I've lost the video again. Thank you, Lee. Thanks so much too for bearing with this technological hiccups that we've been experiencing today. And I don't think we've got any more other than that. Okay. Do you know what though? What would be really cool is in the last 5 minutes, and hopefully I can hear it. It's going to sound a little tinny on this. I should have set up the system, but you know what we've got on the radio show? We've got a sound. We've got the sound going on to it of the Buzz Project. Now, some of you would have. So this is a project that Rufus and I did together. It's co-creating with nature. Rufus did all the dig. He's a musician. It was really just a vision from me. And so that song is available on Bandcamp, Earth Song Healing, but I thought we could actually have a listen to that and it will take us up to 5 minutes. And we haven't ever really, it might sound a bit tinny, sorry folks, it's coming from my little speaker. And what we might do next week when Rufus is back, we might actually try and arrange to play that on a better sort of format. But I'd really like you guys to listen to this. You can get into, this is the short version. There's a longer version available on the Bandcamp page. And of course I've led you all to this, but of course I'm not going to be able to open it, am I? No. No. And the technological errors continue. Never mind, it's probably better actually if we do it next week and you can listen to it when it sounds a little better. 42 hours. Here we go again. Anyone like to take a I mean, one of those things that ding, ding, you know, when you put it, yeah, anyway. That was pretty random. Okay, so did you have any final words?
No.
No, you didn't? What are you up to this week? Tell us some, I think you're doing some exciting things, or was that you'd rather not say? Or?
Oh, yeah, just some more internal work and planning and
cool.
You know, all the stuff.
Very, very, very cool.
Magical things.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I'm looking at doing a program soon and I'm not too sure how to deliver it. I'm a little confused because I'm one of these pain in the ass people that doesn't like to deliver stuff the way everyone else is doing it. Like, I like to be really innovative, and so I'm over the kind of workshop thing. I think we've been workshop for workshops. Online again, it's kind of like people are, so I'd be really keen if you guys want to Facebook in and talk to me about other methodologies of deploying information. But, you know, I have some information I'd really like to share, and I think, you know, in terms of consciousness and maybe playing in that space, some of my experiences, and I really think that they would, you'd find them advantageous. I'd really like to start doing something where I can engage with you as an audience and sort of show you about how to do some of these things outside of this format. So have a look on there, keep posted on the Facebook page. Let me know if you can think of any other ways to deliver media. And I'm going to keep looking for different ways.
Yeah, I'd be keen to know about that too.
Yeah, I think I kind of get the feeling, look, there's nothing wrong with the way that those things are delivered and they're done. I think it's really, really cool, but I kind of get the feeling that the energy is changing so much that sometimes what we do needs, the format and the forum of how we do it needs to be aligned. And I kind of feel like there's nothing quite like that needs to focus the energy. It's a weird thing, guys. It's a feeling thing. And it'll come to me. What I need to do is actually trust in my connection and probably go and communicate with Source about how best to do this and see that being revealed to me. And I'll let you all know how that goes. So you will find myself on Intuitive Energy Works in terms of if you require any intuitive consulting. I do businesses and I also do individuals. Individual specialties are really around soul purpose. So if you'd like to engage with me, you can find me on Facebook, Intuitive Energy Works. The beautiful Kate Bennett does mind, body, soul counselling, and she can be found on the Facebook page Kate Bennett, or you can get in touch with her services through the Soul Space Radio Facebook page. And who, last but not least, who can forget, because Val's a friend of Rufus as well, so who can forget the lovely Mr. Rufus Rogie, and he is an amazing sound healer and mentor, and he can be found on his Facebook page as Earth Song Healing, is that right? Earth Song Healing, and he can do individual music sessions. Now, we had a friend of mine, Bruce, came onto the show last week and just really responds well to the Didge. And the Didge is an amazing sound healing and has been used, it's a very ancient actually sound healer external tool, helps you go within and assists in terms of all sorts of things, including pain management. And so I would just encourage you to schedule an individual session with Rufus, because it's just, I've had one, it's absolutely phenomenally amazing. You can meditate in that space, it's really quite amazing, isn't it,
Yeah,
Belle?
definitely.
Yeah. And Belle, would you like to talk about, you've got Yin Circle coming up?
Yeah, I do. I'm still to get it online, but you can look me up on Facebook under Belle Owen, and I have a business page as well attached to that, and also under Reclaiming Magic, which is my magical group that I've created for the Gold Coast.
Yeah, and so a little bit more about that magical group, because Belle's very modest in terms of what she's done, but effectively she's creating a whole, am I right, and a whole new community supporting, well, the community exists, but actually putting an infrastructure together for a forum for the reclaiming community to come in and not just reclaiming.
Yeah, anybody who identifies as an earth-based spirituality practitioner, so whether that's a shaman or a witch or what have you, this comes under the Reclaiming bracket, which is like a magical tradition that was started in the late 70s. So anybody who just wants to practice earth-based spirituality together and honor the seasons and the cycles and
beautiful
come together for ritual. I'm just creating a space to do that.
And right before we finish, Belle, actually now we've gone over the time, but hey, we're good like that, we might as well keep rolling. Because I want to close this out. I think it's important. Why do we not celebrate so many of the festivals that they do in the UK that are all around harvesting and nature and the environment? And I'm thinking about midsummer and midwinter, is that right? Winter solstice? Or is that
winter solstice?
Why? I mean, we are starting to, I think, recognise and acknowledge those more, but do you know why that's?
I think it would mostly be because, for example, the Wheel of the Year encompasses all these festivals such as Imbolc and Yule and Beltane and that sort of thing. But really they were festivals that were celebrated in those areas of the world. So, out in the UK and...
so as we...
It's basically modelled on that.
Okay.
So anyone from those ancient types of religions, although I don't call it a religion as such, that's what it's modelled on. And obviously in Australia we have a completely different landscape, and our seasons are all opposite. So what we do is we adapt the Wheel of the Year to suit our circumstances. But also we have a lot of the Indigenous history here too. So remember, we're
really
all
powerful.
and we're all settlers essentially that have come here onto Indigenous Aboriginal land. So we don't have the history that they would over in the UK, for example, or Norway or wherever that might be. For these things.
Beautiful. So we're starting to lay down some roots and some tradition, because I get it, people, that all of this is, heart-centric, heart-based, and we're all one. That's the interesting thing. If you can change your perception to perhaps this week, just looking at God as perhaps being all in everything, and in everything, and the one. There is no one God, there is one. So it's all in everything. From that perspective, you can understand that he or she may come to us and appear to us as whatever form it might be, and there's so much joy and love and divine purpose in that, as opposed to this common conception that we have that your God's different than mine, and therefore we're in conflict. So I think that's a really good thing to have a look at. So all of the things that Belle's talking about today are all really heart-centric spiritual practices, and all of those people should be honoured, and in terms of how they're giving service, and how they wish to choose from their own individual perspective how they see their own relationship with divine. They should be honoured and completely left to practice whatever they wish to in terms of how they communicate best with the divine. Yeah. Fantastic. We're all talking about one and the same thing, people. So pure positive love energy, it's taking us places, and it's getting stronger. So we can all feel it. So on that note, blessings, love. We've gone a little bit longer, but we have had much beautiful Belle here, so can you blame me
for having me?
So interesting. So thank you very much, and hopefully you'll come again soon. Okay, see you people. See you people. Love you, bye. Thanks for watching.